Hey everyone, Dodge here at Team Chaos MTG. Today it's another edition of Premature Evaluations where we evaluate cards prematurely. Most of the Ravnica Allegiance spoilers are out, or at least it seems like most of the relevant ones are. We have about another week at the time of recording until the entire set is going to be spoiled. And I thought it would be kind of fun to take a look at some of the obvious and not so obvious additions to Five Color Humans, which in my opinion is going to be the modern deck that benefits the absolute most from this new set. Now, it might be kind of obvious to say so, but Lavinia goes in the deck. She goes somewhere in the 75. She's too good not to. She dunks all over Tron, all over Storm. I mean, she even kind of shuts out Dredge, or at least those late game conflagrates that they would like to play. Lavinia is creeping on people through a window. But that's not the important part. The important part is that she is a really, really good card, and you are going to want to play her. What else is a really good card? Well, I'm glad that I asked, because Tithe Taker is an okay card. I'm not going to say it's a really good card, but it does a pretty good Thalia imitation, putting that extra tax on your opponents during your turn. While that might not be the best thing, it is going to, if this resolves and your opponent is playing a bunch of fetch lands, which if we're talking modern, they probably are. Or if it's a mirror match and they're cracking a bunch of horizon canopies, anything like that, this is going to limit what and when they're able to do things with those. It is a much bigger deal having to activate a fetch land on your own turn, get a shock land, pay the 2 life because you have to pay the 2 life now because you need to do things now because you're not going to be able to do things later. And while Thalia usually just says to your opponent that they can't do things at all, having an extra card in your deck that's going to be putting that tax on them, that forces them into a position where they need to do things on their own turn, even if it's not as good as Thalia, it's still very, very good. It's also still a human, it's also still 2 mana, and it also leaves behind a dude when it dies, which, while that might not be the most important thing in the world, is pretty interesting. And speaking of doing things when things die, hey Judith, have you seen this fucking card? This thing is insane. I know that black and red are kind of the fringe colors for the humans deck. It's primarily a Bant list, or, it might be 5 colors, but it's really rooted in white, blue, green. Judith doesn't care. Judith doesn't have time to care. She has places to be, she has people to murder, and she's going to be carried to those places by people. I mean, look at that. She's probably going to murder those guys, but god damn, they look good. And she's going to pump your whole team. Just all of it. Just the whole fucking thing gets that +1/+0 static effect. And when they die, well, I mean, I guess she gets mad about it or she gets really excited about it. I'm not really sure what exactly the lore is for her doing damage to stuff or other things of yours dying. Look, that doesn't matter. Let's take a look at Kessig Malcontents. This card shows up as a 1 or a 2 of in most 75s, and it can just win games out of nowhere. When you have an established board. Judith being able to win games out of nowhere in combat or in response to a wrath off of an Aether Vial trigger, and that's busted. This is busted. She's busting heads. She's going to help you bust heads. Heads are going to be busted, and the Rakdos are going to love it. The rest of the humans in your deck, I don't know about them. They can pay attention to what I think is going to be the sleeper hit for the humans deck. The breakout card, the most important new piece to the deck in a very long time, maybe since Kitesail Freebooter, is Detention Sphere, which is not in the new set, actually. That's from old Ravnica. This guy! This is the guy that I'm talking about. Deputy of Detention Spheres. He's not a human. Look, it doesn't matter that he's not a human, okay? He's a detention sphere on a stick. And he's one-sided. And my mind is blown by that. I mean, this thing, well, it doesn't slice and dice. It's not doing as many things as Lavinia, but it does one thing really, really, really well. And let's be honest, the fact that it is not a human doesn't make it unplayable, alright? We have seen non-human cards, modal ones, but non-human cards, make it into the deck already. Knight of Autumn is in basically every human sideboard that exists in the modern format, and she does a lot of things. She does a lot of things really, really well. And it doesn't matter that she's not a human, because she's that good, and because there are so many ways that the humans deck has to play anything that's banned, or a creature, or costs 3 or less mana. I mean, the core of the deck is to get out, the idea, the game plan is just to swarm the field with all of the best humans that you can, but when creatures are playable and they're as good as Knight of Autumn, and they provide as many answers as she does, well, you just play the card, right? Again, it's a detention sphere on a stick. You can Aether Vial this thing. It's one-sided. In a mirror, you get rid of all of your opponent's Thalia's lieutenants or whatever is clogging up the board, their reflector mages, it doesn't matter, and you keep your own. And that's crazy. Now, you can't do anything cute with this guy, like Violet in to exile your own dudes in response to a Wrath effect or something like that. But this card is a detention sphere on a stick for 3 mana. I don't think the fact that it's not modal and it's not a human are really going to matter too much. I think this card is going to be the one to beat going forward, and I'm probably wrong because I'm wrong about a lot of things, but that's okay, because if I am wrong, you can tell me all about it in the comments, and then I'll probably not read them, man. Y'all get mean on YouTube. So, let me know what you think about my opinions. How wrong am I? What cards am I not talking about from the new set that you think are going to show up in the Humans deck in Modern? And what other decks are going to see some sweet new tech that I just completely missed? Give us a like, a follow, a subscribe, a share. Just click some buttons. You're already here and it takes exactly 0 effort. So, as always, and until next time, I've been Dodge, you've been watching. Have a great day.